Hi, I'm Jimmy Colefax, and this is The Story. We're continuing with Shelley Scowen chatting with the remarkable missionary, Mary Hutton, who ministers to children in a poor section of Bogota, Colombia. Even though she's at an age when most people would be seeking comfort in retirement, she's living in a house with no running water and having to carry buckets up and down stairs. Next, we're going to hear about the time she was threatened by a man with a knife.
One day I was at the church. I have a wonderful church 2 blocks from where I live, and they basically have the same vision that God gave me to serve the families and the children. And so this was a long weekend and there wasn't a lot of people at the church, and I come out and I did say goodbye to some people who went to the right of me into their houses. They live close by. And I started walking to the left, and next minute this man come around the corner, and he had a coat over his arm, and that should have brought my attention because guys don't walk around with coats over their arms. But this guy did, and he caught me by surprise because next minute, as he got closer to me, he drew out this huge carving knife and started walking towards me. And I just became so rooted to the spot. And I didn't know, I was sort of thought, well, perhaps I should scream, even though amazingly, usually there's people everywhere, but this day there just happened to be no one. It was just him and me. And so I sort of, in Colombia, in the worship time, the Colombians do what they call a jubilee, which is it's a bit like the shout to the Lord, but it's a high praise thing. And so I'm thinking I should scream, but at that moment, this high praise call come out of my mouth, and next minute the guy, he stopped in his tracks, and then he started backing off from me, and he was serious. I was really in trouble, but he started backing away, and he was snarling at me, and he was saying something, but I thought, I don't want to hear what he's saying, but as he got towards the corner near where he'd come around, he ran off, and it wasn't until later I realised, that had to be an angel behind me to stop him so dead in his tracks. And then, he didn't even turn his back at all. He just backed back from me, sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, So, the angels are busy there.
I guess that also gives you a reminder too that God is with you wherever you go. It's a little confidence booster, I guess, for you, isn't it?
Yes. One thing I'd like to say, Sally, is when God called me to go to the children it's called Casucar, the barrio I'm in, it's like a suburb thing, right up in the hills. I moved there and started living there in this home, but I never started the ministry. I had to pray for a whole year and take the ground. And at the end, that was 2008, I prayed through that. But in that time too, we were in preparation, preparing the bottom section for the children. I had some wonderful young guys come in and help me build tables and benches, and we painted and as well as ward over taking the ground. And then I at the end of that year, November, I come back here to Australia just to be with my family for Christmas. And at the beginning of 2009, the Lord spoke to me and said, you'd go back and start the club for the children. So that was a whole year of preparation and prayer. And then we started in 2009.
Wow, so it was a long time coming then?
Yes, because you have to take the ground, and I live in a very dark, heavy place. There's a lot of witchcraft there, and it's not your normal coven witches and all that. It's more than that. It's a deeper, evil, spiritual darkness there, and the people have a lot of superstition. But it's wonderful, the children that come, they're so open to things of the gospel that they never say they're bored. They are there. I never have to say, are you coming next week or anything. They're just there all the time.
Wow.
They just love to hear the things of the Lord. So it's like God, even in that whole year, was preparing these children too, I think, you know. And then I found gradually the mothers sort of come around. And like last year, I had mothers knocking on my door who wanted their 2-year-olds to come in. Because normally I'd taken it down to 3-year-olds, but they begged me that for the 2-year-olds to come in. And those 2-year-olds are wonderful. They sit there. I don't have chairs. We just push all the tables up against the wall and the benches, and they all sit on a mat. And like I say, Colombians don't have personal space, so I can pack them in.
They can't afford to with a town that size, that kind of population density.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pack them in and you can minister to them the love of God right from such an early age.
Yes.
And like you were saying, taking the ground, you can take the ground of their hearts as well and plant those good seeds right from those really early ages.
The earth is well prepared in their hearts So I just see that whole year, it's very significant in all preparation, you know.
And preparing your own heart as well,
as well as the physical needs of doing. Yeah, we had to put a new floor in the bottom too, cement floor and that.
Right.
But God is faithful. He always provides.
He's pretty amazing at providing, isn't he?
Yes, It does my head in if I try to do his mathematics.
Yes, it's not really our mathematics.
No.
Tell us about some of the fruits that you've seen over the years.
I guess one of the fruits I've seen and I love this, is the faithfulness of the children. I've had them with me since we started in 2009, and a good percentage, say 50% of those families still come.
Wow, that's great. They obviously trust you and trust the things that you're talking about.
Yeah, and they just, like I said, they love to be there. They see it a bit like a refuge, even though they're only there for an hour. To them, it's somewhere to go, and it's safe, you know, and it's out of their houses, because they just live in little 2-room places, hardly any space. All the children usually share a double bed sort of thing. So there could be, you know, up to 4 children or 5 children in a bed. Depends on their ages. So just to come in there and just be able to relax and just, you know, we just love on them and, just enjoy them, and they enjoy us too.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And it's great to hear your heart for the young generation. I hope you don't mind me saying that you recently turned 70. So you're not young yourself, but you're still getting around. I guess physically it must present some challenges too, having to run around and up and down off the floor with the littlies and all the rest.
No,
but
it doesn't. No,
yeah?
I am very physically fit.
Awesome.
I live in a 2-story house, so I have 20 steps to run up and down every day.
Yeah.
Plus, I have no running water in the house, so I get fill-up tanks downstairs, so I have to carry buckets of water upstairs all the time. So that keeps me very fit. I call it my gym.
Yeah. And pretty good motivation too. If you want a cup of tea, you've got to go and get the water.
Yeah. Well, I bring buckets up and fill buckets upstairs, so yeah.
Wow.
So that's a bit of a challenge for people who come, because there's no running water and no, you know, the toilet, we have to flush it with a bucket of water sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I liken my lifestyle to boot camp a bit. So
Sounds like it.
But everyone seems to enjoy coming up there, so that's the main thing. There are people that come and help, all the volunteers and that.
Well, like you say, maybe it's a blessing because it keeps you young and keeps you fit, hey?
Oh, yes. And the other thing that keeps me energised is I do get up early in the morning, because I believe we cannot run on empty, and I do have a lot of demands on my life, so I need to fill up every morning. Usually get up about 4 o'clock and, just have that quiet time with the Lord and become energised and ready to go for the day. I have a lot of demands at the door because there's often mothers there that don't have food, or children looking for, a school book or a ruler or a pencil or something that they just don't have the money for, because the people who live there, it's a daily survival for them. And most of the people there too don't have good education, so they have to take minimal sort of work like cleaning or, all very basic. So that sort of limits them. But God is good in that way, that when a person is really down and out, that I have some groceries for the mothers, or I always have something there for everyone that comes. So God is good that way too.
Yeah, some amazing stories of how God is just using a normal Aussie girl overseas in a big way. Just in your humble little club there, you're doing some amazing things, touching hundreds of families.
Yes.
And what an amazing impact you're having. I guess it's something that you never would have seen coming, a few decades ago.
I always say if I wrote a book, I would call it Never in My Wildest Dreams Would I Have.
Yep. Certainly a challenge. And as you say, you didn't retire, you just got sent out retreaded. And I think it's very true of your life.
Yep.
Mary, an amazing story. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing over there. It's an incredible use of your retirement years. You're not just sitting around, sitting in a hammock enjoying the twilight years. You're out there working for God, and I think probably enjoying life to the full.
I am, yes. I'm very contented. Yes,
yeah.
I certainly am.
Wow, what more can you say about the remarkable Mary Hutton, missionary in Bogota, Colombia? She absolutely loves what she's doing, ministering to the children there, even though it sounds like a hard, demanding life, getting up at 4 a.m. and lugging buckets of water around. But through it all, the Lord is filling up her life to overflowing with riches that money can't buy, an inspiration to us all. Well, if you'd like to contact Mary, you can send her a message through her church in Loxton, South Australia. Their website is livingwatersloxton.com.au. That's livingwatersloxton.com.au. Thanks for joining us for Mary's inspiring story. I'm Jimmy Colefax, encouraging you to share your story with someone today.
Next time on The Story.
Bullying became something that I had to put up with pretty much throughout high school, and in year 10 it really escalated. Boys pinning my arms by my body from behind, using my backpack in between classes, and guys coming up in front of me and rubbing my ears for fun, and they do it so violently, so regularly that the skin would tear away from the skull and start to bleed, and then over days my ears would bruise up and go purple and black, and so that was the kind of stuff I put up with on a daily basis.
Brett Murray and his wife Teresa are the co-founders of the Make Bullying History Foundation and are passionate about helping children who have been bullied. Unfortunately, Brett went through his own experience of being picked on when he was in high school, and he'll share his story next time.
The Story. Just another way Vision is connecting faith to life.